I had my first really bad mental health problem when I was 33 years old, which was the year before winning the 2 gold medals. Some of you will know that, a lot of you won't. I basically was in holding camp getting ready for World Championships. I'd gone through the whole highs and lows of this. I still felt like I was in the game. Like, I don't know what it is. You know, some people will have had this, I know they would have in life. I think you're going to be something, or there's something else for you, you know, whatever that is. You know, you're going to have your best car, or, you know, get married and your partner's going to give you the best rock, you know, whatever it is, you know, with all these aspirations. But I just believed I could be Olympic champion. Anyway, I got a niggle again, and I just thought, I can't do this.
Got in a what again?
A niggle, like an injury.
Yeah.
I thought, I can't do this. So I'm in the holding camp. I lost the plot. I literally, wow, I went into the bathroom and I had a breakdown. I didn't know what breakdowns meant, but I definitely do know. I lost it. Some people call it black hole. Some people call it the black dog. You can call it anything. When you can't see anything but this, you're screaming in your head and nothing is rational. And I wanted the floor to open up. I wanted to jump in. I didn't want to see tomorrow. Saw some scissors on the side. I just decided to cut myself in places that I could hide. And I was in a bad, literally lowest of the low. Yet, on the other side, which is really weird to comprehend, is I was wanting to live because I had a dream. I still wanted and believed I could be Olympic champion. So for me, that was my saviour. Still knowing there's something for you. It's like when you're in a really bad place, sometimes you don't know how to handle it. But then sometimes the flashes of what really matters, your family, your friends, your life that you do lead, there are other things that why we want to live as well, but we don't know how to cope with the bits at that period of time. And mine was Olympics. So you can imagine getting ready for World Championships, being in that space. I still won a medal at that World Championships, and I stood on that rostrum thinking no one knows what I'm going through, but look at me. And I knew I couldn't go any lower. So what happened is coming into 2004, I told everyone around me that was part of my team, like my physios, my masseurs, my training partners, my coaches, didn't tell them anything about the mental health problems, because I still didn't know at that time. We didn't speak about mental health back then in 2003. I didn't really know or understand what I was going through. So how could I then explain it? And also I didn't want to put a negative vibe on the team, because, I mean, it's not, but that's what you think. Anyway, so I told my team, look, I need you to help me. I need you to be the best physio, the best coach, the best. We will be good. I said, I'm struggling because I just need to keep injury free. I know if I'm injury free with all the hell I've gone through, I've won all these medals, like surely if I get 1 year where it is perfect, I can do this. And that's what happened. So everybody galvanised their own way of thinking. So back then, my conversation's very different to what I might go on to tell you about in a minute in terms of speaking in a different language around mental health. But back then, it was about how do I bring people on side who it's about both of us. Yeah. So by me winning, I wasn't the only person that should have won medals out of my team, because my physio was from Leeds. She was working at a university. You know, she was a university physio. And I said to her, I said, look, you're brilliant physio, but no one really knows about you. What if you become a physio to an Olympic champion? Remember, I was only going for 1 gold. The 2 was like, oh. But I said, what if you become a brilliant physio by supporting an Olympic champion? Because I'm going to win, you know. Wow. It raised her own vision of how good she could be and what part of the team her part was. It's like being in here. This does not become this unless the people work on it and every part of this organisation do their bit to the absolute T. Excellence to get an excellent product. To be excellent, that's exactly the same. That's a gold medal there. I don't become a gold medalist without everybody else's part to play. And that's how I looked at it, is that we're all a team. So I suggested that to all of my team, and it transformed everybody. And together we became, the belief I had was to be Olympic champion. But then I won 2. And if anyone remembers my face winning 800 metres, it was like eyes popping out the head, like, oh, how did I do this? You know, it's kind of...
I wish you had a picture, sorry about that.
You should, yeah. But yeah, so you deal with mental health lots of different ways. Maybe we'll go through the realistic life of mental health in a minute.
You mentioned, you talked about wearing masks a few minutes ago, and then we were speaking earlier about your pain being in the army and not being yourself.
Yeah.
And I also heard you on Jonathan Ross on Saturday night making a very impassioned statement. Do you maybe want to share what that was?
Yeah, so again, some of you may or may not have seen the documentary that I had out on June the 26th this year. That documentary was called Kelly Holmes Being Me, and basically the documentary was about me announcing publicly that I was a gay woman, something that I'd never spoken about, wasn't able to speak about, but I had to speak about. And the reason being is that I served in the military when it was against the law to be gay, or against the law to be anything under the LGBT movement at that time. And the consequences of that instilled fear in me for 34 years, because I always feared the fact that if I had admitted that I had served as a gay woman during the gay ban, that I could still be jailed, which was the consequences of some people that got found out. Those consequences weren't as simple as being jailed. They were brutal beatings, sexual assaults, rape, court-martialing, jailing, you name it. People's lives have been ruined through that law. I was, I suppose, one of the lucky ones that just was mentally tarnished with it, but still it stopped me being me for my whole life. I'm now on a campaign. Now I have my voice to get justice for the thousands and thousands of veterans that are still suffering and did suffer during that time. So there's a review that's out led by Lord Etherton. It's looking at the injustice of veterans during the years of 67 and 2000. The ban got lifted in 2000, which actually now, ironically, you know, is the best, one of the best employees for diversity and inclusion. You can be whoever you want now. You know, it's against the law to be homophobic. It's against the law to have, you know, to be anything against anything within the D&I categories. But whilst that's good, and I have a very complex relationship with the army because I served, I loved my career, I loved being a soldier, I really did. And I'm on honorary colonel with the Royal Armoured Corps Regiment, which I have been for 4.5 years, so now people have to salute me, which I quite like. Because I never got it when I served, so I might as well take it now. Yeah. They owe it to me. But no, so on one hat I am promoting how good it is to have a service career, and I would advocate that, to be honest. There's like over 380 jobs that you can have. You know, you've got a roof over your head, you've got pay, you know, you have good camaraderie, you get the chance to travel, do sport. So from a young person's point of view and how it grew me as a young person, it was brilliant. But on the other side of that, I'm a person now, especially because I'm clear ahead, because I've now got this space rather than the fear and the kind of frustrations that I've had that have caused me many mental health problems right up until doing the documentary. I now believe that we walk, all of us, and especially in all these bits, on the shoulders of people that have gone before us. People have made change and movement to us to get to the point that we can have these conversations and things in all different areas of life. But with the veterans, you know, these are people that might have served for over 15 years, got a long service medal. Long service medal is for good conduct, meaning you did your job well. That's stripped off of them the moment they're found out to be gay or alleged to be gay. Okay, alleged. There is heterosexual people that were also kicked out of the military for assumed to be gay. Okay, this is the wrong bit. I've been interviewing loads. I've been promoted it loads, as I did on Jonathan Ross. This Sunday, in the Sunday Mirror, I've interviewed 3 veterans, with 2 with harrowing stories. But my mission is we get as many people come forward to submit their evidence for the review. The review gets written up. We end the review on the 1st of December. It gets written up to go to the government in May with a whole hopeful outcome of a public apology, meaning a state apology, because you bear your oath to the allegiance to, it was the Queen, now the King, so to the Crown, not the government. But we want to see some compensatory measures being put in place, but that doesn't mean individually, because you can't quantify that. But what you can do is put a pot of money in for people that have suffered mental problems, that have led to physical health problems, that of homelessness that we're still having. People have lost family, friends, pensions, so much. You know, people are destroyed just because of that law, and I want to use my voice to now give justice to others, and my platform to do that. I'm not paid to do this. I want to do this because I believe in it. And one of the things that I've got to in my head is that, yes, a law gets put in place, but a law was fundamentally that you couldn't live a life that they thought wasn't appropriate because it was a risk to soldiers on the front line. I mean, really? The last thing you're thinking about is if you fancy someone when you're getting shot at, let's face it. But that's how ridiculous the law is. But there's one thing having a law and saying, right, you're breaking the law because we know you're gay, you're kicked out. Like, you lose your job, you feel bad about it, you want a career, you don't like it. But who has the damn right to take that law into their own hands and physically abuse people by means of absolute physical abuse, beatings, to sexually abusing, to raping people, to causing their life a life of misery that they now can't live it? No one has the right to do that. And that's why I've got to this point of really pushing it, so that my language is to the government that people took the law into their own hands. That wasn't right. Whilst we can't get that back from perpetrators, you can do something for those survivors of that. And that's my mission right now.
Well, good luck with it. Maybe just last question from me. Walking around, so you've been doing some filming and follow you on social media. If you don't, please do. It's fantastic. I'm sure not everyone is supportive of you on social media. How do you deal with that?
To be honest, I mean, I don't see anything that's nasty. Okay. I mean, I'm sure there's people that say it's nasty, but that's in the world, isn't it? That's in society. You know, there's bad eggs everywhere. Do you know what? I've got to a point in life where I can't fear anything anymore than what I feared for all my life. So, you know, words are words. What can I do? No one's going to accept everybody. But I do think when we're talking about all of these areas that we're talking about, it's about having conversation, educating people, and informing people. Because most people have an issue of things when they don't understand. So they have a perceived issue of something, you know. They think, oh, this fight, why are you fighting about this? Because, you know, why does it matter? Well, it's because you don't walk in the shoes that other people walk. It doesn't matter to you because it's not affecting you. But why do you have a right to then bring somebody else's down? So there's a language that I think we have to change when we're talking about different subjects, about educating people. I think there is a crossover with talking about issues, because when we were looking for all your 5 silos, when I realised I'm in all of them, I thought to myself, well, everyone has their own issues here, and you can write them all down. But if you go back to everybody and you all sat down together, I bet you there's so many common issues. It might not be exactly the same wording or exactly the same issue by, you know, ethnic minority to women in terms of right, but lack of opportunities, prejudice, judgment, kind of fear of kind of being rejected, kind of I don't fit in that mould. I bet that goes across everybody, to be honest. So for me, it's about communication within, you know, especially in this landscape where you've got the chance to make changes here. In society, we need to do the same thing. We need to kind of be clear. I think about normalising conversation is better. The more we talk about it, it normalises it.
Sure.
The less we talk about it, the issues we still have. You know, so talk about the worries, talk about the fears, talk about we don't get these opportunities. Because if people don't know about them, they can never give them to you. That's another thing. These are things I'm learning. You know, I'm not here to preach. It's just my life has been quite colourful. I've learned a lot.
Quite colourful, yes.
Feel a lot, felt a lot. And so those are some of the things I've come. When it comes to mental health, I do believe in communicating. I believe you have to talk. You have to share. You have to get anything that's in here and off, because it can lead you to a lifetime of misery. You know, in the moment you release that, it's like a whole new being, you know. But I do think there's also this kind of, it's only my own analogies of this walking on eggshells type thing. So if I was with friends and I thought, and I do have friends, that they're isolating themselves a little bit more, they're not communicating on our WhatsApp group as much as they did, I'm thinking something's not right with them, you know what I mean? So I'd make a point of contacting them and just saying, oh, hi, you're not, you know, I haven't seen you around much, you're not saying a lot, you know, what's going on? Is everything okay? I don't say, are you okay? Because what's the common answer? Yeah, I'm okay. Because you don't know how to either approach the subject, or you don't want to burden someone with the subject. So there's these two people. One walks on eggshells and thinks, should I approach it? And sometimes you don't want to approach people, I think, in a workplace, because it can open a can of worms that you're not either ready for or you're just scared of. But I do think that's not as bad as you think, you know. It's just somebody having to release something, and just knowing you've got somebody that cares or can listen can make a difference to that person. And it's exactly the same if somebody wants to speak. There's always somebody that can speak to you. We all have either a friend, a colleague, a charity, a professional that we can go to and open up to. The hardest thing is that first move, and I know that. If you watch my documentary, first 2 minutes, well, it wasn't actually, it was a lot longer than that. It was probably about 10 minutes. It looks like 2 minutes on the documentary. Actually, it looks like 30 seconds on the documentary, but it took me 10 minutes to actually go, I just want you to know that I'm a gay woman. And it's not because I'm ashamed. I'm not ashamed of myself. I'll put that out there. And I've been a gay woman since I was 18, when I first realised, when I joined the army, that, yeah, maybe I'm gay. But you know, when you have so many fears and worries around your being, it's debilitating. It just stops you even thinking straight, even feeling properly, and you just build up. And over years and years and years, you build up such a barrier and a wall that to break that down is so hard. But I can honestly say to anybody now, like, I've lived through that, and my biggest thing is now I can talk to people is, please don't live in that vein, because I know how bad that is. And I can sit, people used to say to me, but why don't you know, my friends and family, but why don't you say things, you feel so much better. Oh yeah, it's that easy, you know, you ain't going through everything. It's not that easy, but the moment you do, I can honestly say, the past, not initially, after June, I was still terrified of what people would say and what people would think, and like waiting for the moment, like seeing it on my social media, like thinking, oh. You know, it's like, and the funniest bit was I had a date in the diary, which was the 26th of June, and I've been talking to a production company for quite a while about doing this, and then it obviously took a lot of filming. And 26th of June, so I had this date, I'm thinking, right, a countdown. And then the newspaper wanted to do an article, but the article had to come out the Sunday before, on the 19th. And I was like, no way are you putting this newspaper article out? Because I've built myself up now to this big sort of moment. And suddenly, like, they wanted this out, and I went into this whole shell of, oh my God, no way. You can't be telling everybody that I'm a gay woman. You know, it's really weird. But your mindset goes to think. But as I say, the first 2 months, it was sort of comprehending it all. I went to Pride for the first time ever. I mean, I'd never been to Pride. I wouldn't even wear a rainbow badge for fear of somebody going, oh, you're definitely gay. And I can say that assumption in any walk of life does not free people. Me assuming who you are, what you do, what you feel, where you've come from, you know, what you have, what you haven't got, does not free the person dealing with the issues. Assumption is people's freedom. You know, freedom is their voice is their freedom. So assumption is not freedom, freedom is your voice. You being able to speak about it, share about it, articulate it, get the opportunity for that, frees somebody from the hell that they can be in. So they're my kind of words of wisdom.
Thank you.
What I've learnt.
Thank you. And the documentary was on ITV, wasn't it?
Yeah, so it's on
the
ITV
Hub. Yeah,
it's called Kelly Holmes Being Me. It's worth a watch. I mean, it covers a lot of subjects, covers the bereavement and things, which was the start of my journey 4.5 years ago when my mum passed away, of me needing to change. It talks about burnout from work, overworking because I was stopping these constant narratives in my head of needing to explode and just free myself. And it was a constant narrative during lockdown. I had COVID in lockdown, seeing the awful things that were going on telly and watching how devastating, whether you believe it or not, but seeing a lot of people that were dying, thinking, you know, laying on my sofa for 3 weeks thinking, God, you know, when something happens to me, all my friends and family are going to be at my funeral saying, oh, isn't it a shame that she couldn't live her life? I'm like, no, that's my right to live my life, you know? So then I went through this whole journey, had a burnout, thought I was going to take 3 weeks off, took 10 months off. During that time I had a big breakdown, decided that if I don't do something now, then it could be really serious. So that was the journey that it took to get to today. It's been a tough one, but I'm the happiest I've ever been. I've never been happy in my life. This is the honest thing. I live life because I did. I've been successful, and don't get me wrong. I mean, winning 2 gold medals was pretty cool. You know, I had a lot of smiles, and I can smile a lot. But I can like truly being free and happy and feeling it is like now. You know, I can be who I want to be. I can say the things that are passionate about me. I can hopefully talk to people more authentically. I had enough to say before that point. I could talk about being a mixed race kid and a white and white, you know, growing up. I could be a care home kid. I could be a soldier. I can be, you know, Olympic champion. I can be a mental health advocate. I could have been all those things about telling that I'm a gay woman. But I need to tell you that because this is who I am, and I'm no different to the person who celebrated running around the track, winning the medals. It's just helped me be freer. That's it.
Thank you.